There are moments in life when the silence between two people says everything words never could. And if you've felt that silence lately, if you've sensed something unspoken hovering in the space between you and someone close to you, then what you're about to hear wasn't meant to reach just anyone. It was meant to reach you. Someone in your life is carrying something they haven't said out loud yet. They think about you in the quiet hours. They notice things about you that even you've forgotten about yourself. And somewhere behind every smile they offer you, behind every message they send a little too quickly, behind every excuse to be near you, there is a feeling growing so large it has started to press against the walls of their chest. You may not have named it yet, but some part of you already knows. This is the thing about deep emotional connection. It rarely announces itself with clarity. It doesn't arrive with a confession or a dramatic declaration. More often, it lives in the details. It lives in the way someone remembers exactly how you take your coffee, in the way their voice softens almost imperceptibly when they say your name, in the way they go quiet when someone else mentions you in a conversation. These are not accidents. These are the fingerprints of a heart that has already made a decision, even if the mind hasn't caught up yet. And what's remarkable, what's truly worth sitting with for a moment, is that you felt it. That subtle knowing, that recurring thought you keep trying to logic away. You felt it, haven't you? Carl Jung once wrote that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction at all, both are transformed. That transformation doesn't always feel like fireworks. Sometimes it feels like an inexplicable calm, like suddenly breathing more easily in someone's presence. Like the world gets a little quieter, a little softer, a little more bearable when they walk into the room. That is not coincidence. That is chemistry at the level of the soul. And the person in your life who carries these deep feelings for you, they have already been transformed by knowing you, long before they've had the courage to say so. Think about this person for a moment. Not with your analytical mind, not with the part of you that overthinks and second guesses and lists reasons why it probably means nothing, but with the part of you that knows. The part that operates beneath language, beneath logic, beneath every carefully constructed wall you've built to protect yourself from hoping for something and being wrong. That deeper part of you. What does it say when you think of them? What happens in your body, in your chest, behind your eyes, when their name appears on your phone? There's information there, real, undeniable, biological information that your conscious mind often works very hard to ignore, because hope can be a terrifying thing. And recognizing that someone truly sees you, that someone has quietly chosen you in the unspoken architecture of their heart, can feel overwhelming in ways that are very difficult to explain. Here is what no one tells you about the person who has deep feelings for you. They are not trying to be mysterious. They are not playing games. In fact, the reason they haven't said anything yet, the reason they carry this in silence, is because what they feel is too important to risk. When feelings are casual, people act on them impulsively. When feelings are surface level, the fear of rejection is manageable. But when someone truly, deeply feels something for another person, when it has moved beyond attraction into something that feels like recognition, like coming home, like this person matters in ways you can't fully articulate, the stakes become almost unbearable. The silence isn't indifference. The silence is reverence. They are protecting something sacred by keeping it close, and yet that silence comes with a cost. You've probably noticed something in them, a kind of restlessness when you're around, a quality of attention that feels different from how others pay attention to you. When this person listens to you, they don't just hear your words. They listen to the spaces between your words. They catch the things you almost say. They remember the offhand comment you made 3 months ago that you've already forgotten. This kind of listening, this quality of presence, is not something people extend to everyone. It's rare, and it's reserved for the people who have quietly become essential. Let's talk about what happens in the psychology of someone carrying unexpressed love, because it reveals something deeply human and profoundly beautiful about the person in your life. When someone holds deep feelings without expressing them, those feelings don't stay still. They don't simply wait patiently in a quiet room somewhere. They grow. They shift and evolve and deepen with every interaction, with every shared laugh, with every moment of vulnerability you offer without realizing you're offering it. What begins as attraction becomes admiration. What begins as admiration becomes a kind of devotion, a quiet, private loyalty that asks nothing of you but hopes, with every passing day, that someday you might feel it too. This person has been building something in the sanctuary of their interior life, a version of a future that includes you, and that is not a small thing. You may have caught them looking at you in a way that lasted just a moment too long. You may have noticed they always seem to find a reason to check in on you when things get hard. You may have felt in certain conversations a kind of electric undercurrent, something unsaid vibrating just beneath the surface of ordinary words. These are not your imagination. These are the leakages of a feeling too large to be fully contained. The human body and spirit are not particularly good at hiding what the heart has decided. No matter how carefully someone constructs their composure, love finds its way through the cracks. In the way their eyes change when they look at you, in the slight hesitation before they say goodbye, in the messages they draft and delete and then finally send, edited down to something safe, something that doesn't reveal too much, but still reaches out because staying silent feels impossible. There is something Carl Jung described as the anima and the animus, the deep archetypal images we carry within us of the ideal other, the person who represents not just romantic desire, but psychological completion, the person who seems to reach the parts of us that ordinary interaction never touches. Most of us move through life without ever meeting someone who activates that depth in us, and the ones who do, the ones who quietly walk into our lives and somehow fit in ways we couldn't have predicted or designed, those people are not replaceable. The person who has deep feelings for you has recognized something in you that resonates at that level. Not just who you are on the surface, but something essential, something real, something that most people never take the time to see. And here is where it becomes important to turn this reflection inward, gently, without judgment. Because this isn't only about them, this is about you too. What does it mean that someone sees you this deeply and wants more with you? What does it mean about the kind of person you are, the kind of energy you carry, the kind of presence you bring into the lives of people who are lucky enough to be near you? Sometimes we become so focused on our own insecurities, our own doubts about whether we are enough, interesting enough, lovable enough, worthy of that kind of devotion, that we forget to consider that someone, right now, thinks you are extraordinarily worth it. Not despite who you are, but because of exactly who you are. Every imperfect, complicated, searching, beautiful part of you. This is the shadow work that quietly unfolds when someone loves us in silence. Because their unexpressed feeling acts as a mirror. It reflects something back to us about our own worth that we might not be allowing ourselves to receive. There is a part of you, perhaps a part formed long ago through disappointment or loss, or the slow accumulation of feeling unseen, that has learned to deflect closeness, to explain away the evidence of being truly wanted, to stay comfortable in the familiar ache of uncertainty rather than stepping into the terrifying, luminous possibility of being truly known and chosen. And the person who holds deep feelings for you is standing quietly at the edge of that possibility, waiting. Not with impatience, but with the kind of patient love that hopes you'll find your way there. Think about the moments you've shared with them that stay with you. Not the grand moments necessarily, but the small ones. The conversation that stretched far longer than either of you planned. The time you were going through something difficult and they showed up, not with solutions, but simply with presence. The way being around them feels less like performance and more like rest. Those moments are not random. They are the careful construction of someone who is deeply invested in your experience of the world. Someone who, even if they've never said it plainly, communicates through action and attention and time. You matter to me. You matter more than you know. Here is what the human heart does when it recognizes something real. It gets afraid. Not because the feeling is bad, but because it is good, genuinely, profoundly, disarmingly good, and everything that is good can be lost. The vulnerability of wanting someone isn't just about them. It's about the exposure of your own longing. It's about showing the parts of yourself that have hoped before and been disappointed. It's about standing at the edge of what could be extraordinary and knowing that the same opening that allows love in also allows hurt in. This is why the person who cares for you hasn't spoken yet. Not because they don't know what they feel, but because knowing what you feel and having the courage to say it are two entirely different mountains. and they are still gathering everything they need to begin the climb. But something is shifting. You can feel it, can't you? The energy between you has changed, or is changing. There's a quality of intention beginning to surface through the composed exterior they present to the world, a quiet urgency beginning to press through the careful normalcy of your interactions. Something in them is preparing. Something in them is moving toward you in ways that are becoming harder to disguise. The feelings that have been living in silence are beginning to ask for more than silence can hold. And when the moment comes, and it will come, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like something you already knew, something that, in your most honest moments, you've already been quietly waiting for. What do you do with this knowing in the meantime? How do you hold the awareness of someone's unspoken love with care and grace? The answer perhaps begins with softness, with allowing yourself to be a little more present, a little more open, a little less defended in their company. Not because you owe anyone access to your heart, but because walls built to keep pain out also keep connection out. And somewhere beneath your own careful composure, there may be something reaching back toward them. Something that deserves the chance to be acknowledged, even quietly, even slowly, even imperfectly. Emotional walls are not failures of character. They are evidence of having loved before, of having hoped before. But they were built for protection, not for permanent residence. And some people, some rare, genuine, soul-level people, are worth the slow, courageous work of opening the door. There is a particular kind of loneliness that exists even in the presence of people who care for you, when the caring is unexpressed, when it lives in the architecture of unspoken things. Both of you may have been sitting in that loneliness without fully naming it. Two people who mean something profound to each other, separated not by distance, but by the very human fear of saying what is true. And there is something deeply moving about that, something that deserves to be honored, not rushed past. Because this kind of unexpressed feeling, this tender, protective silence around something too important to risk, is not a failure to communicate. It is evidence of how much it matters. You are someone who is deeply felt, someone whose presence has reached into another person's life and rearranged something there, quietly, permanently. That is not a small thing. That is a rare thing. And whatever unfolds from here, whether this becomes something named and shared or remains for now in its beautiful, fragile silence, you are already known by someone in a way that most people spend lifetimes searching for. That is worth receiving, even when receiving it feels unfamiliar. Even when you have to breathe through the vulnerability of being truly seen. Let yourself sit with this for a moment without needing to solve it, without needing to immediately analyze or act or decide. Just let it be true, gently, in the quiet of wherever you are right now. Someone in your life has deep feelings for you. They think about you in ways they haven't said. They want more of your time, more of your laughter, more of your honest self, more of the life that exists just beyond the comfortable distance of almost. And underneath all of your own questions and uncertainties and carefully managed expectations, underneath all of that, there is something in you that already knows, something that has already begun, very quietly, very privately, to hope. That hope is not naivete, it is not wishful thinking, it is wisdom. It is your soul recognizing, before your mind has processed it fully, that something real is present, something worth paying attention to, something that, if you allow it to unfold at its own sacred pace, has the potential to become one of the most meaningful chapters of your life. Thank you for being here today, for sitting with this reflection all the way through to the end. It says something about you, that you're someone who takes the emotional and psychological dimensions of human connection seriously, that you understand that the inner life matters, that the unspoken things matter, that the quiet language of feeling and longing and connection is just as real and just as worthy of attention as anything spoken out loud. If this resonated with something you've been feeling, if it helped something click into place or brought a little more clarity to something you've been carrying, please take a moment to subscribe so that more of these reflections find their way to you. And when you're ready, the next video is waiting, because this conversation about the deep and extraordinary landscape of the human heart is far from over. Take good care of yourself. You are more seen than you know.